We recognize this traditional territory to show respect and understanding to those who walk this land since time immemorial. Today, we uphold our ongoing responsibility to work together in the spirit and the intent of the treaties with all First Peoples and nations that call this place home. The town expresses gratitude for the opportunity to build a better community on these sacred lands for generations to come. And with that, I call the regular council meeting of July 7th, 2026 to order. The first is the adoption of the agenda. Any changes or additions, council? Administration?
Nothing from administration.
Thank you. I would take a motion.
I would like to make a motion that we adopt the agenda for the regular council meeting for July 7th.
Council, we have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Please vote. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you. Next thing on our agenda is council meetings. How do you want to deal with that? Or minutes? Councillor McLean.
I move that we adopt the minutes for the regular council meeting, June 16th, 2026.
All right, council, we have a motion. The council adopt the minutes for the regular council meeting of June 16th, 2026. Please vote. Thank you, council. Then we have a minute with council. So we had a time slot for Miss Yonke, not here. Anyone else in queue?
No one has registered with me this evening.
Okay, anyone present would like to take a minute with council? Seeing none, then we move on to our first action item, which is 5.1, the short-term rentals bylaw amendment number 1162-3. Administration.
Thank you, and I will turn this to Ms. Walker.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of council. So as previously reported, council held a non-statutory public hearing at its June 16th regular meeting of council to receive both verbal and written submissions regarding the proposed bylaw. In response to the written submissions received from public stakeholders, as well as a motion passed by council and subsequent review by the town solicitor, Reynolds and Mirth, revisions were made to the proposed bylaw. The proposed revisions focused on improving the bylaw's clarity, consistency, and enforceability. Key changes included enhancements to the enforcement section, refinement of defined terms, standardized terminology throughout the document, readability improvements, and minor housekeeping edits to ensure the bylaw is clear, internally consistent, and easier to administer. As of today, we have 57 compliant non-principal registered short-term rentals and 8 that are pending fire inspection approvals. That will bring our total up to 65, just shy of the proposed cap of 70. As it relates to principal short-term rentals, we have 48 compliant registered and 3 as well waiting for fire inspections. A second reading was defeated at the June 16th meeting. Administration is now seeking first, second, and third reading this evening. And I will answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
What do you think, council? Have we flogged this dead horse enough, or are we going to flog it some more? Councillor Charlton.
I would like to make a motion that council gives short.
Oh, you're blinking, but no.
I would like to make a motion that council give short-term rentals bylaw number 1162-3 first reading.
Thank you. And council, we have a motion on the floor. The council gives short-term rental bylaw number 1162-3 first reading. Please vote. I can't see. There we go. Thank you, council. That's passed unanimously. All right, now we have it on the floor. Are there any thoughts, comments? Councillor McLean. Try that again.
Yeah, just a few thoughts, few comments. Like you said, we've kind of beat this up. It's probably been the most talked about and most, the number one issue that's come before council since we've been elected in October. You know, we had public hearings, we had some great debate in this chamber, and we had some great debate in committee of the whole meetings. And I believe we're at a point now where it's a very balanced approach towards short-term rentals, and I'll be supporting this bylaw as it's written.
All right. Well, seeing no one else in queue, I will have to add a ditto to that. I think we've gotten it to a point of balance. Now it's time to see it operate for a while. Council. Councillor Dunn.
I move that we give short-term rentals bylaw number 1162-3 second reading.
Thank you. And council, we have a motion on the floor. The council give short-term rental bylaw number 1162-3 second reading. Please vote. And we're waiting for, oh, and that is passed 4-1, and voting against going to second reading is Kristen Chambers. Council. Councillor McLean.
Yeah, I move the council give unanimous consent to proceed to third readings.
Council, we have a motion on the floor. The council gives unanimous consent to proceed to third reading. Please vote. And that is passed unanimously. Thank you. We needed unanimous on that one. One more motion to make. Councillor McLean.
I move the council give short-term rental bylaw number 1162-3 third reading.
Thank you. And before I call that to vote, Councillor Chambers.
Yes, I will not be voting in favor of the third reading, just as I did with the second, but I do not agree with the cap at the numbers that it is, but I will say that I am very satisfied with a lot of the amendments that have taken place. I think it's a lot more robust of a bylaw. I do think it will work better, and I appreciate administration working, coming from the last meeting on some of the more reasonableness about the potentials for life events and transfers in all the strange things that happen in people's lives. So I think it was a good job. And while I'm not voting for this for my own reasons, I really do believe we're coming out of this with a better bylaw. And I hope that we continue to have a balanced, reasonable view on this as we move forward when we do reach the cap and see what comes forward in the future.
All right, and seeing no one else in queue, I call to question the council give short-term rental bylaw number 1162-3 third reading. And as I expected, that was passed 4-1 with Councillor Chambers voting against third reading. But with that, I guess we've finally beaten that dead horse completely to death, and we do have a new short-term rental bylaw. So thanks, everyone. And then on to action item 5.2. That's the one-off financial request. It's in support of the DMO's Friday in Green Square administration.
Thank you, Council. The item before you exceeds the CAO threshold of $750 for singular approval, so it's before Council for consideration. The organization is looking for $1,500 to offset the cost of renting some town assets, particularly the tent structure. And with that, I'm here for any questions.
Council. Councillor Charlton.
I would like to make a motion that council approve the in-kind donation in the amount of $1,500 to offset the rental cost of the Town of Hinton event equipment in support of the Hinton Destination Management Organization Fridays in the Green Square events.
Would you like to speak to that?
I would. I just think that this is absolutely fantastic that this is happening in our community. And I feel that this encompasses all of the community and really shows support and getting folks out. And I think to have an organization like the Destination Management Organization take on something like this with just the ask of offsetting the equipment, we couldn't be any luckier. So
Thank you.
that's that.
Councillor McLean.
Yes, I'll be speaking in favor of it. I was there this Friday and more community spirit on display. It goes on all summer to September 4th. And we have live music, we have artists, we have storytelling, we have giveaways, food trucks, local business around the Green Square have specials on and sales. I have their business hours extended. So I think it's a great event. And I encourage more people to come out and bring a friend and bring a chair.
Thank you. Seeing no one else in queue, I agree. An important plank in our strategic plan was community spirit, and I think this falls closely on that. It's nice. The first week, when it poured and it was really crappy out, they still had 200 people come out. And for anybody who's traveled in Latin America, the Zocalo is always an important part of the community. And if we could turn our Green Square into our Zocalo or communal meeting place, that'd be great. So I'll be speaking in favor of it as well. All right, seeing no one else in queue then, I call to question the council approve the in-kind donation in the amount of $1,500 to offset the rental costs of the Town of Hinton event equipment in support of the Hinton Destination Management Organization's Friday in the Green Square event. Please vote. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you, council. All right, so we're on to 5.3, which is the award of the 2026 community grant applications. And we asked for this to come back because we thought the last time it was lacking some information. Council, you've now received that extra information. How do you want to deal with this? Councillor Charlton.
I would like to make.
Oh, hang on. There you go.
I would like to make a motion that we remove the $7,500 from the community grant allocation. And maybe before I finish the motion, if I could ask a question of administration, do we need to know exactly where we would want this money to be reallocated to in the motion?
Preferably, yes, but we could make a separate motion for it as the report in front of you does have a motion regarding what to do with unexpended funds this year. So that same motion could go through with just an altered amount.
If I might suggest that we deal with it that way, let's work through this discussion first, and we still need to deal with that 1,300 that's, I mean, for lack of a better term, left over anyhow. And this could be in addition to that.
Okay, and could I speak to the motion?
100%.
Okay.
You
I-
made it.
I just would like to say, I really feel the intent behind this with the Hinton Chamber was to create a really good community event. And I take my hat off to them for coming up with this idea. I think the problem that I have with supporting this is it seems to be very narrow as to who the audience is really targeting. And it seems like it's targeting a specific type of business. And I think that if we're going to be using taxpayers' dollars on supporting community events, it needs to perhaps be a little bit more diverse. And I also think that local businesses, although the intent of or what I think the intent of the chamber putting on this organization was to create a community event. I do think that local businesses in our community that are members of the chamber will also appreciate that this might not be the right way to spend taxpayers' dollars.
Councillor Dunn.
I have a question for administration. After the budget update we received from the Prostate Cancer Society, do you think that would have changed anything with the approval from the Community Grant Committee?
Through to all of council, having not sat on the committee or been a part of it, I don't want to sway the answer one way or the other.
Okay, thank you. I mean, it was one of the approved applications for the, out of the 6, it said it was approved, and then the recommendation was to have 0 funding. Without knowing all the background, I wonder if we could add some of the 7,500 to that Prostate Cancer Society.
If I may,
Administration.
council, I was provided detail from the committee that the reason why they felt it wasn't a go forward for the monies is there wasn't certainty that it would still happen in our community. They still had fundraising to do for the other half. The monies coming from the town of Hinton would have only been a portion of what they needed. And they did reach out to find out if providing the funding created certainty that they would be in our community, and they could not answer that definitively.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else in queue, maybe we'll step in. I did call the chamber today and have that conversation with them and say that I was also having some issues as it relates to the 7,500. I don't know if we undertake an economic development initiative, whatever that is, I'd like to see it be broad. This isn't. It's in support of 10 pizza places. It's a cute idea. Bill had lots of them. But at the end of the day, I don't know that it meets my expectation for the use of taxpayer dollars. I mean, once upon a time, when this was traffic money, it was kind of found money. It was a little easier to spend, but now we're asking taxpayers who've told me that they're starting to get to the limits of their ability to pay. And I don't think this meets that measure. All right. Well, seeing no one else in queue, then I called to question that. Council directed, hang on. The council directed administration to remove the Hinton and District Chamber of Commerce Pizzas in the Rockies $7,500 from the 2026 Community Grant Program. Please vote. And that is passed unanimously. Now we probably want to figure out how to deal with the $8,800, whatever that number ends up being. Administration.
Excuse me, council, if we could have a motion authorizing the expenditure of the remaining amounts,
Oh.
the 16,200 as listed would be fantastic. Thank you.
Councillor Chambers.
Thank you. Just a quick question. Is it possible to do the motion of allocating the 16,200 and the allocation of the additional funding all in one motion?
If that's council's wish,
Okay,
yes.
I'll take a stab at it. I'd like to make a motion that council approve,
Let her catch up though.
sorry. Oh, she's gonna do this for me. So that council award 16,200 for the 2026 Community Grant Program as recommended by the Hinton Grant Funding Advisory Committee as follows. Hinton Historical Society, Self-Guided Tour Kits, Athabasca River Potters Guild, Hinton's Run in the Rockies event, Hinton Figure Skating Club for a total of 16,200. and that council direct the remaining $8,800 from the 2026 community grant program budget to the 2027 community grant program budget. And if I could speak to that while she catches up, is that okay?
Please.
I really believe this money needs to stay in this pot. I think we changed the game a little bit. I think there's a lot of organizations that may not have been aware that there was some additional funding that we put in. I think it's important that we continue to build this, and that if we do have a year where we have a lot of uptake within the community, within the nonprofits, that we do have a bit of flexibility to perhaps have some of them meet their goals. And I think the appropriate thing is to be able to build up this contingency fund going forward within the community grant program and not through the council contingency fund itself, but that the money would stay within the program.
Well, seeing nobody in queue, then I will make comment that if it was going to go forward as written, where that would be come into council's contingency, I wouldn't have voted for it, but with this change, I will speak in favor of the motion then. All right.
Still saying to
Oh.
council's
Still says-
contingency.
Oh, sorry, it just still says to council contingency fund, and it needs to be changed to the 2027 community grant program budget. And just.
You're back.
Yes, I believe that's correct. Thanks.
All right. So we are voting that council approves the $16,200 for the 2026 community grant program as recommended by the Hinton Grant Funding Advisory Committee as follows. The Hinton Historical Society, 1,700, Athabasca Potters Guild, 9,000, Hinton's Running the Rockies, 2,000, Hinton Figure Skating Club, 3,500. For a total of 16,200, and that council direct the remaining $8,800 to the 2027 community grant program budget. Please vote. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you, council. And now we are on to 5.4, and that is unfortunately, recognizing the resignation of Councillor Dooley Nelson, administration.
Thank you. On Thursday, June 25th, 2026, CAO Panasik received official resignation notice from Councillor Dooley Nelson. As per Section 161(3) of the Municipal Government Act, the resignation became effective on the day it was received by the CAO. In accordance with Section 161(4), CAO must report the resignation at the first council meeting following when the notice was received, which is today, July 7th, 2026. Council has set a by-election date for August 27th, 2026. Notice of nomination day advertising during the week of July 16th and July 23rd will be for 2 open council seats. Internally, our website and continued social media posts have been changed to reflect 2 available seats in the upcoming by-election. Just for council's reminder, nominations do close on noon, Thursday, July 30th.
Thank you. And we should probably make a notion or a motion accepting that report as information.
Please.
Councillor Charlton.
I'll make a motion to accept that report as information.
So we're voting the council accept the report on the resignation of Councillor Dooley Nelson. Please vote. Again, really sad to see Dooley go. I know that Camille's in town, and we're going to see him at Wild Mountain, but apparently they've begun the process of settling into their new life. So, all right. So then we are on to correspondence, and under 6.1, we have a request for tax penalty relief. Council, how do you want to deal with this? Councillor Chambers.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the request for tax penalty relief correspondence for information.
All right, and seeing no one else in queue, then I call the question to council accept the correspondence for tax relief for information. Please vote. Thank you, council, and that was passed unanimously. Okay, and then we are on to our information items. Bear with me 1 second. Whereas the mission of Life Saving Society of Canada is to prevent drowning throughout this great country, and even one drowning in Alberta is one too many. And whereas most drownings are preventable in a water smart community, and only through water smart education and a healthy respect for the potential danger that any body of water may present, can we genuinely enjoy the beauty and recreational opportunities offered by these bodies of water. And whereas the Life Saving Society urges Canadians and residents of Hinton to supervise children who are in and around water, to refrain from drinking alcoholic beverages while participating in aquatic activities, and to always wear a life jacket when boating. And whereas Life Saving Society of Canada is declared July 19th to 25th, 2026, the National Drowning Prevention Week, to focus on drowning problems and the hundreds of lives that could be saved this year. Now, therefore, on behalf of council, I, Brian LaBerge, Mayor of the Town of Hinton, do hereby proclaim the week of the 19th, 25th of January as National Drowning Prevention Week in Hinton. And with that, I have reporting, and maybe I'll start to my right-hand side. Councillor Dunn.
Nothing to report.
Councillor Charlton.
It seems like this was ages ago, but I did attend the Community Futures meeting in Grand Cache on June 24th. It was a great meeting with fellow councillors from across the region. I had the opportunity to drive up there with councillors from Edson, so it was great to hear their perspective on things and how and what they're working on. It's always nice to hear that different things are happening in different communities. It was a great meeting. And an observation was that we are having very low applications right now for requests for community grant funds as far as small business startups. So not quite sure why that is, but there is some apprehension right now for startups. So we're hoping to see that trend change. And that's everything for me.
Councillor Chambers.
Thank you. I agree. Also feels a long time ago, but we were privileged after our joint council meeting that we had with Yellowhead County. Some of us were able to stay and meet with our premier and have a bit of a town hall meet and greet with her and some of our other partners from across the province. So that was nice to see some different people from our area and be able to hear from our premier at this time. And otherwise, I have nothing to report.
Thank you. And Councillor McLean.
Yes, thank you. It was a long time. Seems like a long time since I've been here. But I did go to the FCM. I did get a few days in, and I did get my tour in on the subsidized housing and different types So they took us on the tour. The tours were phenomenal, right? Mine was. And I heard through the grapevine, most of them were. The two different units that we looked at a 13 room unit, an infill project. And then we looked at a 64 unit project. And the city has worked with the province when land becomes available. And they would like to see 7% in the wards. Each ward have some sort of affordable housing and meet that goal of 7%. And it's not always possible because the land's not comes available, but it was quite interesting and quite eye-opening. I just wish I could have stayed a little longer. I had an opportunity to ride along in the bus with a counselor from Lacombe and had a great conversation with the mayor from Tofino and the mayor from Lunenburg. We're all experiencing somewhat the same problems. Infrastructure, Tofino is running out of water. They're looking at water shortage. And he asked me if I could help them get 150 to 200 million dollars for their water project. I said, right after I get my 80, we'll be okay. So that was the FCM for me, and then I had to come home. But I want to do a shout out to the Canada Day, whoever organized it. I seen an email, but even with the town staff, the ones that came in and were doing the garbage and the cleanup and setting up the tents. And I think the setup was phenomenal. I think the Saturday night or the night before was June 30th was great addition to the event. I know Bill and I, Councilor McDonald, we swore we were going to get rid of the drones and get back to the fireworks, but I think the drone show was pretty good this year. So the pancake breakfast at the men's shed, put that on. I was there for that, over to the parade, tried to get to the cake cutting ceremony, but
You're too slow with your walker.
the walker slowed me down. Thanks to Councillor Dunn and Mayor Labarge for taking care of that part of it. And the food trucks, the beer garden, everything was just phenomenal, right? So I look at growing the community spirit in Hinton, and it made me proud to live in Hinton and made me proud to be a councillor in Hinton. So that's all I have.
Yeah, and I'll just take off from there, I guess. Hats off to Kayla, Alexis, and Chad for laying the field out. It really was well done. Person after person told me how much they enjoyed that new layout. And setting up the night before, it's not a lot more leaving the tents out for the extra day. And that night was a little slow to start with because I think first time out it always is. But I think when people realize there's a night before, because you don't have to work Canada Day, most people get it off. So I think it was really a great addition. I'd like to say thank you to the chamber, always organizing the parade, and Hintonites for getting out and celebrating. It was packed all over. There must have been, I don't know, around that trade route, there had to be 2,000 people by the time it was said and done. It's always really well attended. The field was so well done, but fireworks in the summertime, they just don't work. So hopefully we're going to have fireworks for New Year's. We'll see. But I think we talked about building community spirit. And this is some of the ways that it happens. And I'd like to find a way to maybe do 2 more of these. I think that autumn festival, I think they called it, on Green Square, where Wild Mountain said they're willing to organize it if we could come up with a couple $1,000s to sponsor it. I think those are some of the things I'd like to see us work toward. And then I have a question for administration. The speed limit change on McLeod, where does that decision get made? I mean, I was a little surprised actually when I got home and saw that the speed limit had changed. I hadn't heard anything about it. I've heard a fair bit about it since, some in support of and some against. But what's the process for setting speed limits? Is that not something that council has an opportunity to look at?
Through to all of council, and a more robust answer is going to come to you when CAO Panasik is back, but it was started, I believe, from the Protective Services Building. It had been before council a number of times, and there was considerable research that some staff were asked to do. So it's my understanding it's carryover from something that was potentially prior to this council's term, but I will leave the full answer to CAO Panasik.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I look forward to it. I've had citizens ask and I go, I don't know, man. I'm as surprised as you are, I guess. That's that was the long and the short of it. All right. Oh, right. I zoomed on to reporting and I didn't do notice of motion. Do we have any notice of motion? I got all excited about reporting.
Nothing for notice of motion.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor McLean, for keeping me on the straight and narrow. And administration, anything in reporting?
Nothing to report.
All right. And with that, I would entertain a motion. Councillor Chambers.
I'd like to make a motion that we move into closed session at 4:37 PM.
And I can't imagine that a motion's going to come out of this, so I think administration's done, except for whomever's going to join us in the other room. So, all right, council, we have a motion to go into closed session at 4:37. Please vote. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Meeting in 30 minutes.
Short-term. That's amazing.
Why did you go for something so long?